Some of you guys might not even know that you're even the black sheep in your family. And I'm going to show you some signs that might indicate that you are the black sheep in your family and how to cope with that. But first, hey friend, welcome to my channel, Creating with Mental Gems. This channel is dedicated to leveling up in all areas of your life. So let us learn together, read together, but most importantly, grow together. Now, without further ado, let's get into this video. Now, what are some signs of being a black sheep in the family? Number one, ask yourself, do you feel that your parents were a little bit more tough with you than they were with your siblings? Even if it was your guardian, whoever it was, everybody was a little bit more strict with you. Things that other people could get away with, you couldn't necessarily get away with, then you probably was a black sheep. The biggest sign is that you probably feel like you didn't belong in your family. Like, am I adopted? Do I belong with these people? You always feel like you stood out, you were different, you didn't necessarily fit in. They all maybe had their own lingo, their own stuff, and everyone just seemed to get on with the culture of the family, but you just never quite fit in within the culture of your family. Then you probably was a black sheep. Anytime you did any little thing wrong, did you feel like it was a big deal? Like they made a big deal out of it, right? You breathed wrong. You maybe dated the wrong guy or this. Even in your adult years, anything you do wrong seems to be blown way out of proportion compared to what your siblings or other people in the family does. It just seems like there's a spotlight on you just waiting for you to mess up and make a mistake. Then you probably are a black sheep in your family. And this kind of goes hand in hand with your family making you aware that you're different, right? If you felt like you didn't fit in with your family, then they made it aware that you're different. They'll highlight different things that makes you stand out within the culture of the family, because every family, every home has its own culture. Just like every marriage, every friendship has its own culture. But what I mean by culture, there are things, habits, norms that you'll have in certain homes that's not the norm or habits in other homes, right? So every family has their own ecosystem, culture, whatever you want to call it, right? That's just what is normal and what is not. And within your home, did you constantly feel like your family was always calling out your abnormalities, or what made you different, what made you stand out, whether it was your beliefs or how you saw the world? Did you feel like you could not breathe whenever it was in regards to your family? And this can go on with them making fun of you, belittling your dreams, your aspirations, making fun of your body, your physical looks, making fun of your grades, your friends, your personality, things that you cannot control, and even things that you can control. And of course, whenever something great happens for you, whether you started healing, getting therapy, you got into a happier relationship, you're, building yourself up from all the trauma of being in this home, it seems like no one is happy for you and your family. Au contraire, they bring you down. They make you feel smaller. They take that joy from you. They show you why you don't deserve it. Or they just make you feel like, dang, you can't even bask in the joy, and you feel like they just bring you down. And another thing is, does your flight or flight get activated when you're around your family? Do you feel anxious automatically going back home? The holidays, etc., birthdays. You avoid any family function because you already feel like your anxiety is through the roof, that I'm going to have to see these people. I'm going to have to deal with them. I really don't know how I'm going to do that. People that you're genuinely happy to see, genuinely can't wait to see and be in their presence. You're calm, you're soothed. Those are people that don't activate your fight or flight. When people activate your fight or flight, your body is already telling you to avoid these people. They are high risk. You're not going to be happy in their presence, and you have to pay attention to them. And also, if things go bad in your family, you're blamed for it. Another sign is that when there's family stuff going on, functions, businesses, new marriage, whatever, you feel like nobody lets you know what's happening, what's going on. Like you're always so clueless. You feel left out. You feel like, how come I didn't know? Nobody gave me the memo. I didn't know all this was happening. I didn't know this was going on, etc. You just always feel left out. That is a major sign that you are a black sheep in your family, which also goes hand in hand with you not being invited to stuff, right? You're not even getting invited to stuff, graduations, weddings, parties. You just feel like people are happier when you're not around, and your presence is not really necessary to be around. That can be very, very heartbreaking, but it's unfortunately one of the signs that you're a black sheep. Here's why being a black sheep is not necessarily a bad thing, and you can embrace it, because being a black sheep means you stand out, you are an individual. A lot of people have groupthink. I've been so into learning the science of groupthink. The thing I know is people have groupthink. think. They like to need validation to be themselves, to stand out, to get their own opinion. So with you, when you are a black sheep, whether in your friendships, because it's not always just family, it can be in your friendships, but mostly it comes within your family. It usually means that you think differently than everyone else and you're not afraid to stand out. You have values, you have your own morals, you have your own identity, your own personality, and you're not afraid to ruffle feathers. Some things that can make you a black sheep is maybe your whole family went to one particular college. You know, there's like a family college. Everyone went to Cambridge. And maybe you don't want to go to Cambridge. You want to go to art school. You know, you want to go to Juilliard or something. And you're like, you know, I don't really want to go that route. I want to go this route. And everybody's like, even your other siblings don't really have her back. Maybe everyone had a line of career that you're not necessarily interested in. You want to be in another career, but no one really wants to support that. And they kind of make you feel alienated within the family. Or maybe it's religion. Maybe you're not really participating in the religious views of your family. And they all kind of just feel like, what's wrong with you? Oh, he or she is being weird. They want to be this religion and leave our family religion or whatever the case may be. It could be who you married. Maybe people just don't like who you married for whatever reason. Or maybe when you were a kid, your personality was probably a little bit more extroverted than everyone else, or maybe more introverted, because there's some people that they were so introverted, maybe it was easy to ignore them or make fun of them. What's their problem? They're so quiet. You're always in your room, da, 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 da. And you could be extroverted for a variety of reasons, but no one really took any personal interest to really even know why you're a recluse. A lot of people that were introverted as children were touched without their permission, and that's why they became a recluse. But it seems like the adults or people in your life don't really want to get to know you, alienate yourself or remove yourself, and you've never had that warmth or welcoming. Or it could just be that for whatever reason, they just don't like you. That's probably really heartbreaking for anyone to hear that, what, my family just don't like me. But yeah, your family just don't like you. You're just not likable within your family. And it's not a fault of your own, because we don't get to choose our families, and parents don't get to choose their kids. They just give birth to a kid, whatever the personality, how the kid looks, etc. You don't decide nothing. I want you to understand that, right? You don't decide your color. You don't decide how tall you're going to be. You don't decide how you're going to look, how pretty you're going to look, etc. We have no choice. And then we come into this world where every day we are being told how to be, how to behave, how to act, and there's certain privileges afforded to certain people that won the lottery of life, per se, that were just born with the right complexion, right texture, right height, right everything, beauty privilege, etc. And you feel like ever since you were a kid, there was just always all of these, ways people, like, you felt people was just imposing their values, their way of thinking, their virtues onto you, and you just don't want to fit into that mold. You want to be different. You want to stand out. You're like, I don't want to be told how I should be. I want to explore how I want to be in a safe, respectable way where you're not harming yourself or others, of course. But people hate people that stand out because they don't have that in them naturally. People naturally hate people who are defiantly themselves. I've learned that in my adult years, that when you are unapologetically yourself, you're defiant about it, and you just like, this is who I am, and this is helping me grow. This is positive for me. This is, the lifestyle I want to live, irregardless of how you think or what the culture was in my family, my community, my culture in the broader sense, where maybe it's not the norm culturally for you to be away, but it just does not register with you. When you are unapologetically yourself, not only do you make history, but you ruffle a lot of feathers, especially when you're doing it right. A lot of the greatest men, philosophers, doctors through life have become the greats that they are because they dared to stand out and be a black sheep. There's a doctor, this is real life, who back in the days when doctors used to perform surgery, the more blood they had on their aprons, the more they had on their knife, the more respected they were. People thought, oh, they must know what they're doing. They used to purge blood and stuff like that. And they felt like this doctor is respected. The more blood they had on their gloves after each surgery, person would want to go into surgery with that doctor. And doctors did not wash their hands back then. They didn't wash their tools. They didn't disinfect or anything like that. The backlash that came with that, though, was not really backlash, but they started noticing that babies that were born from these doctors tend to be more sick, or people who had surgeries from these doctors were getting sick terminally and dying and stuff. And so one doctor came and said, hey, what if we just wash our hands and wash the tools that we use? He did the experiment for himself and noticed that his patients were having a better turnover than the other patients, right? But when he brought it to all these, astonishing doctors, well-read, well-educated doctors, they all laughed at him. They ridiculed him. They made fun of him. So what are you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about. They rejected him to the point that they rejected him so bad, he became mentally ill, ended up dying. This is real history because they rejected it until years later. They found out that he was right all along and started implementing all the years of research that he had made, right? Sometimes when you are a black sheep, people will reject you at first. They will take whatever the way you're thinking like you cannot go from the norm. People are so used to being the same, and then to the point where you give anything outside of what they already know, it will always be rejected. And it can be heartbreaking. Unfortunately, you see people go mentally ill when people ridicule them, shun them, make them feel stupid for stuff that they know, like, hey, give me a chance. Let me prove to you what I am saying. And people don't want to give you a chance, and you just feel depressed because no one gets you. No one understands you. The people who make history were 9 out of 10 times always black sheep. There was no one who was really well behaved that ever really made history. It just doesn't happen, right? People who dared to be different, dared to stand out, dared to explore, dared to speak up, be themselves, are who made difference. They got crucified for it. They had mental health issues. People didn't want to understand or believe them. They rejected them, their thoughts, their ideologies, but they fought the good fight and stuck through with what they believed in, and they were able to come out victorious. So when you see yourself as a black sheep, don't just see that as a burden, as something to be sad. Be proud that you're a black sheep, and not just in your family, in your friendship groups, in your community. I actually seek to be the black sheep. I seek to stand out. Whenever I see too many people going one direction, I question it. And I said, am I going that direction because everyone else is going that direction, or is that genuinely the direction that I want to go? And usually when you step back and you ask yourself those questions, you realize that's not really where I want to go. Where I really want to go is there. But that road may be narrow, and not a lot of people is going down that road, but you have to make the conscious decision. But that's what I want to do. And if you're a Christian, of course, you pray on it and you let God give the stamp of approval. But you'll find that 9 out of 10 times the road, well, I'll even say 10 out of 10 times, the roads that God wants you to go are usually the very narrow road. No one else is going. So a lot of Christians have to be the black sheep because the direction God is taking may not be a path that is taken frequently. And I don't know where this quote is. Again, I'm bad with names, but I know this quote that said, the road less taken, and I might even be misquoting it, but y'all know me. Put it in the comments for me, correct me. The road less taken is usually the most rewarding road, right? So seek in your daily life to be the black sheep. Embrace being the black sheep. Don't just look at it as a bad term, a destructive term, a term that's going to give you trauma, but be proud of it, embrace it, and be like, I'm proud to not be like everyone else. I'm proud to ruffle little feathers. People may not get me now, but in the future, they will get me. It will make sense. I'll even say this. I have 2 channels now. One of them is really, well, all of them are successful. I love my Mental Gems channel. It's successful to me because even if it don't get the amount of views that I get on my other channels, this channel is the nearest to my heart. It was my favorite channel because I get to talk like this to you guys. But there was a time, guys, I was doing YouTube for a year and I didn't promote it at all to anyone because everyone made fun of YouTube, ridiculed people sitting here talking. And I just genuinely wanted to give good advice. And I was working a good job, making great money, and people just couldn't understand, why would you leave a good, stable job people desire to work in to come do this? To them, it was beneath them. And I'm like, y'all not understanding why I want to do this. This is fun to me. I love talking to people. I love getting in front of the camera. And I love researching pearls of wisdom. I'm so genuinely talking about trauma, how to overcome mental health. I don't have a psychology degree or anything like that, but I live this. I love it. I could guys, I live this, okay? I can read 1,000,000 books and not get tired, watch 1,000 documentaries, talk to people on this subject because it's near and dear to my, and I really believe healing from trauma and a lot of toxic traits, families and stuff can really make a difference into having a positive world. And this is how I contribute to society, by doing this. And guess what? After a year, I was like, why am I doing this? Who cares if people don't agree with what I'm doing? They make fun of me or I look stupid, quote unquote. I'm gonna do this anyways. And I did it anyways. It worked for me. And the only regret I have is that I didn't start sooner. I regret that. I was like, oh my goodness, imagine if I started when I actually wanted to. Sometimes we hold ourselves back with our inner black sheep. We hold our inner black sheep back, right? We don't want to go into, you want to go into art. You want to go into culinary. You want to do things that no one has ever done in your family or your community, but you hold yourself back thinking no one has ever done it. They're going to make fun of me. What if you do it and it works? What if you do it and it works? Right now, you wouldn't be watching this video if I was still that scared Kareem. I did it. It worked, and you're watching this video. And if you watch this far, support this channel, leave a heart in the comments, thumbs up, okay? But what if it works? So do it. You want to model? Go for it. You want to get into acting? Go for it. You want to have your own restaurant, your own boutique? You want to get into architecture? You want to get into STEM? You want to build the first computer? You want to be whatever you want to be. Go for it, because what if it works? And you don't want to be 60 thinking, what if? And you stop because you didn't want to be a black sheep. Embrace a black sheep. It's beautiful. I love black sheeps, by the way. I think they're gorgeous and they're rare. I love black cats. I love black. I know I'm bubbly, I'm sunny. I love colors and stuff too, but I love black. I love black. I used to have a black cat. Oh my goodness. Yes, I love black. So embrace the black sheep, okay? And if you don't remember anything else from this video, just know that it is the black sheeps that make history. Remember that. The black sheeps, the people that dared to stand out, made history. Think of the most eclectic people through history. The Michael Jacksons. He was like nobody else. Who's like Michael Jackson? No one can duplicate him. He stood out. You know, the people that stood out, they made history. They made history. The people that dared to be different made history. So go make history and be the black sheep. I love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time. Bye.